you gotta say no. You can say, no.
Then it just becomes one, and then you pour tea, same as you dance, as you talk, as you do work. It's the same thing, and tea is considered a gongfu, which means a mastery.
This is something that we thought we can like provide this red carpet feel for the artists, so you guys can come in and, you know, share your thoughts and so on and so forth. I wanted to share a little bit about like my perception of you, because just recently, well, wait, it's not going to be anything bad, you know. Chill out. We're drinking tea. Everything's safe here.
Yo, let's talk about your spiritual ego. Nipple hanging out from your linen kimono. Tantra colada got you feeling sexy. Yeah, it's time for Ubud on tea at the Kruta.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
First episode.
Well, it's actually not the first episode. Well, it's the first episode that's going to air live.
Yeah.
There's a secret episode. Wow.
So you can hear music in the background. We had a little festival at Zest.
Yeah, this thing is called Dirt and Soul, and right now DJing is my good friend Ryan, or also known as Narayan, and if you don't know him, then you should. And if you are part of somebody who's interested in the show, then you're going to be interested in who he is, but that's going to come later. He's busy. They were actually scheduled at the same time as him. Do you want to tell a little bit about what's going on today, Alex, and we'll move from there?
Yeah, well, to start with, we have tea. This show is called Ubud on Tea.
Welcome to Ubud on Tea. I'm Lawrence J, and this is
Alex Limber, and we're co-hosting the show. And the idea is we want to feature the people in Ubud that are awesome, the artists, the entrepreneurs. And today there's a festival with a lot of them actually playing. So, well, you hear a bit of the music, but what we want is to showcase some of them, like an introduction to the show that we'll have, and then we'll go more in depth with them.
Yeah, we pitched this is like a red carpet for everybody who's performing, the musicians. I'm going to slurp the tea because that's the proper way to drink tea. A little little ADR.
Yeah, we'll have guests on tea too. That's something that's been taking over Ubud.
Yeah,
having tea ceremonies.
Whew. So, Alex, this is exciting for me. I'm really excited to be here with you as we figure this out. What I want to ask you is, when was your first time drinking tea? When was your first time in Ubud? And do they have any relationship?
Well, I mean, there's tea and tea, right? Like when we first time drinking tea, I don't know, I was probably a young boy and had some of a Lipton sachet.
Yeah.
But when we talk about drinking tea in Ubud, it's like a ceremonial way to have a tea that's high consciousness, that's often from old trees, and that we drink in a way that we connect to the plant. So it's almost a little bit plant medicine. So in that way, the first time I did it properly was actually pretty recently. I think it would be maybe a year and a half ago. My friend Luke Cohen, who's not in Bali anymore, but I think he'll come back soon, was having a farewell, and we went to Daniel's tea house.
Okay. Daniel's a player in the tea scene.
Yeah.
I actually met somebody yesterday at a restaurant. I'd never seen him before. He said he was in Goa. He said he was doing tea ceremonies there, and he said, I'm not going to do tea ceremonies in Ubud because everybody's doing them. And I was like, it's true. Like, it's all over the place. It's the new black. It's the new in style.
Yeah. I mean, since then I did. So I've seen Daniel do it, and I was like, wow, because it had a vibe of a very subtle plant ceremony in the way that it created a unified field around the table, a very subtle connection between people, and a lot of listening. While often if you go to an amazing restaurant like Zest, where we're at here, it's great, but often if you have a lot of people around the table having food, it's quite loud and there's a lot of side conversations everywhere. And depending on where I'm at, it can be a little bit draining for me. And that feeling of we can be 15 around the table and everyone tunes into the energy, and it's almost the energy chooses whose person turn it is to speak.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. That's actually why we wanted to do a podcast in front of a tea table.
Yeah.
Alex, we're good friends. We've been friends since I'd say like August, September, and we've connected and we have a lot in common, and we're like boys, we're like brothers. But Alex, like part of being the brotherhood is people calling you on your shit, and Alex calls me on my shit a lot, I would say. And one of the things that like you've said to me is my behavior at tea ceremonies in the past. Like you've been like, yo man, you're not respecting the tea, you're not respecting the field. And sometimes I'm like, man, Alex, just give me a break. But ultimately there's been growth for me, like really paying attention to the ritual of paying attention to slowing down, to breathing. And I appreciate that. I appreciate about tea. I appreciate that about you. And one of the things that I really love about tea, and I'm going to be honest with everybody, is that I didn't know. Like I was a coffee drinker, so I would get like the big punch in the face caffeine. Tea, it comes slowly and over time, and every time you drink it, it's a different piece of the. I just saw Kevin leaving. He might be back later.
We might want to have him on the show. He's super interesting.
But yeah, so tea is like, it's good. I like it. It really does a good job. And one of the things that we learned, because me and Alex both participated in tea school, is when you're drinking hot tea, you gotta slurp it. So if you hear me slurping or Alex slurping, know that we're doing it properly.
It's
like
very chic in the tea world.
Yeah, just a little slurper. So we're at the Dragon Temple Tea House, which is the hottest, sexiest place in Ubud. This place it's hosted so many amazing events. It's changed the face of Ubud. It's made it like from like hippie central to sexy spiritual, you know? And I see people from all over Bali, all over the world coming here and just being like, holy mother of good God. Like just super impressed what's happening here. So I just want to take a moment and pay homage to the people who are taking care of us, who are housing us, who are in collaboration with us for this beautiful podcast.
Yeah, and we'll have Roman actually on one of our first episodes. And we'll see, maybe we'll have Pierre today. So Roman is the one who created that beautiful tea house. He also makes these amazing tea tables that you can see here. And Pierre is the founder of Zest, an iconic restaurant here, and they like the tea house just next to it, and they're having the festival at the moment. The music you hear is from that Zest and Dragon Tea Temple festival.
Yeah, this is my boy Narayan. It might be hard for us to get guests today because Narayan's DJing, and Ryan doesn't fuck around. Like his masculine comes out, and like when he wants to hold the attention of the room, he does. I know. I work with him. I teach yoga classes. He does the live music. But we'll get some guests. People are coming. People want to be sitting with us too.
And actually, that's what we excited. That's what we're excited for today. Is there's so many beautiful artists. So you talk about Ryan, and we can talk about why you'd be excited to have him, for example. And you talked about Kevin leaving. So Kevin Oroz, he just came back from Costa Rica. He's an entrepreneur, but he's also into like freestyling, comedy, improv, and so there's a lot of people with a mix of entrepreneur and artist here in this community. And what we want to do with this podcast is to get deeper with these people, get to understand them well, but also create beautiful moments. And the idea is that people can learn more about us too, to start with, also about the people we interview, because we're all part of that Ubudian community.
I want to interview you.
Yeah,
that's what I want to do right now.
Let's start with that.
Yeah, like I want to interview you, especially let's keep it loose today because it's not an official episode, but it's still like it's just us. But what I'd like to do is interview you, ask you a couple of questions. When people come in, we can let them in and have a conversation. But Alex, what I want to know about you is like, when did you get to Ubud, and why did you stay in Ubud?
Well, I think it happens to a lot of people. It's like Ubud kind of calls them. So I was living in Australia. I started going more to Bali because Bali's Bali. The locals are amazing. They're so kind. They're so nice. The surf is good. The beach are nice. The jungle is lush and it's cheap. And the expat community is awesome. So even in Canggu, it's more entrepreneur. Ubud's more the spiritual, that's the cliche. And being in Canggu, I liked it. And then more and more had events, especially that brought me there. So I would go to a cacao ceremony at Akasha.
Oh, really? So
to
you
Niwas
lived
Festival.
in Canggu originally?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there were these events that really called me, especially, for example, when I went to a cacao ceremony at Akasha, and we were like 300 people with a cacao and Shiva being like Jaya, and let's pray for love and the new us. I was like, yeah, that's my tribe.
Nice.
You know, and that felt really good. And I started to come more and more, and then come for the weekend, come for a few days, and I would travel. Like when I came back just before the pandemic here, again I was in Canggu 2 months, but I would come to Ubud like twice a week.
Okay.
It became ridiculous. So at some point
What
I
events?
stopped resisting.
What events?
And I
What
was
was
like,
drawing you?
Ubud got me.
What events? What was drawing you to Ubud?
Well, the cacao ceremonies to start with, and then we were doing at Akasha, the same place, very iconic place in Ubud too. We were doing events for it was for an energy device I was selling at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that was a lot of fun because actually the energy device was just a way to get a good time with the community. Like we couple it with a tantra talk, or with like some beautiful communion and cacao ceremonies. And so it was a pretext, you know, that energy device for gathering the community. Especially that was like April, May, like right in the middle of the pandemic, where the world was super locked down and afraid, and we were like holding the flag of having fun and staying in connection.
Listen to the bass.
Yeah.
Look.
Okay,
Speaking. We have
wanna
another
hear about
question.
you too, bro.
Okay, you wanna talk to me? Talk to me. I have another question for you though.
Okay.
I know that you love ecstatic dance, and I know that people who don't live in Ubud, they have a tough time understanding the kind of love that those of us have for ecstatic dance. So I wanted to just start shooting the shit with you about this epic culture that exists here on Friday and Sundays, where we ecstatitize, where we
Yoga barn.
dance, and I know you're always there. So, hey Leonore.
Yeah, that's another iconic place in Ubud. It's called the Yoga Barn, and they have these ecstatic dances on Friday and Sunday. And I see you a lot there too, Lawrence. And ecstatic dance. Well, for me, ecstatic dance is just a super nice way to not be in the mind. Actually, tea is the same. Tea is a meditation. And ecstatic dance, you have that bypass of the mind, meditative also. So ecstatic dance, basically you dance, but you don't think about your move. You don't have like a choreography or anything. You just let your body move and get out of the mind. So I love it for myself, and then I love connecting through dance too, because again with the tea, what I shared is I really like connecting with people's energies, like feeling the energy. And when you are at ecstatic dance, if you connect with other people, there's you don't talk on the dance floor. You don't go like, hey, do you want to dance with me? You just sometimes you feel someone wants to dance with you. They don't. Maybe they want for a minute and then they don't anymore, and that's cool. And they leave, and they don't have to say I'm sorry or anything. So I like also that play with the community through ecstatic dance. And the last thing I'll say of why I loved it so much, also especially in those 2 years during the pandemic, was pandemic.
Alex Alex used to do
setting
all
the
kinds
tone.
of he used to fight the power. He was anti-authoritative on
Well, my
Instagram.
previous podcast got a lot of bans, so we're a bit careful on this one. We don't
You
want to
can
be
say
banned.
pandemic. That's what I mean. I'd say,
Yeah, for now.
I'm happy. I think that people listen to us are in agreement. It was a pandemic.
Maybe we won't have Sasha Stone,
Yeah, maybe.
which is what cost me my Instagram account.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, he was the one organizing the newest festival at Akasha, and that was one big thing for me 3 years ago that really started a lot my awakening on those topics, and also was coupled with cacao ceremonies and all the fun stuff. So, yeah.
How's this sound?
Big
How's this
up
sound for
Sasha
you?
Stone and Akasha. Yeah, the sound's good.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
the sound's good. Well, it's just one thing. So in that pandemic, it was just so beautiful to see the community being there. And I would look and I'd be like, my heart would melt seeing all the people enjoying and celebrating life at times when people didn't really want us to enjoy life.
It's true. That's something that we can really speak to, I think. While the rest of the world was paying the price for the plan, putting on masks, staying home, being locked down, I mean, a lot that was going on here was there was a sense of freedom.
Yeah. And also, as we talk about it on this podcast, there are things we don't want to go too much into details about.
Why don't you tell us why we don't want to go deep? Because I think we should be like transparent as much as we
Yeah.
can.
Well, there's a few things. First, we live in Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
And Indonesia has certain things as some developing countries that, and not even like many countries where I don't even want to talk about it.
We can say perceived core.
Well, to start with, it's a Muslim country. It's the biggest Muslim country in the world.
Yeah.
So there are things relating to sex, for example. So if we talk
Right.
about
You
like
just have to be
tantra event and things around
respectful.
sexuality, there's a big movement around conscious sexuality from the expat community here in Ubud. But at the same time, we're in Indonesia, the biggest Muslim country in the world. So there are things that we don't want to give details on, where it happened.
Well,
what happened.
maybe we want to. We're just being respectful, and we're not going
Yeah.
to because of the culture.
Yeah. So there's things around like drugs and plant medicines, for example. You can, like, on some things, the country can be quite strict too. So again, like if we have a shaman, maybe we don't want to give details about if they did or not a ceremony in a special place.
I think we should like come up with a membership group where people can have
Yeah.
like behind
Yeah.
closed doors or something.
And same in Indonesia, there can be some corruption,
Yeah.
like in any country.
Yeah.
but yeah, same. So just a little details on that, and of course around things around the vaccines, the pandemic, all that. There are things where this is not going to be the focus.
That you're gonna have to meet us in private to
Yeah.
really learn about
Yeah.
it. But I mean, we're not. But, like,
We'll
we're-
talk between the lines a bit.
Yeah, just a little double speak from the bottom of our heart. We can
Yeah.
say that.
But just so you know, it's not because we don't want to talk about it and we don't want to be authentic and all that, but we also, in a certain country in terms of censorship, and so we want to be a little bit careful. We want
And
to
respectful.
keep being on air. Again, my previous podcast got in trouble, so
Yeah. So we just had a man walk into the room with a piece of musical equipment.
oh yeah.
This man hasn't been in Ubud for very long, but he's definitely part of the tribe, right? That's what we call
Yeah.
ourselves, the tribe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually invite you on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
come on in. You're actually like, come here. Actually, you're gonna sit here. You're gonna be our first guest.
So that's our first episode. We bootstrap it a bit. We'll share that mic for the people who watch it in video.
Watch out here, just because we got this little on-air sign.
Yeah. Do you think you can play with the background music on?
I could try. Yeah. Okay. Ooh. I'm gonna take this off. So this is your mic.
Cool.
You can speak to that.
Hello.
And I guess you and I will speak like this. We'll just be careful.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'll do is first, why don't you introduce yourself? Speak into the mic. Tell us your name, and tell us anything interesting, and the most favorite thing you have about Ubud.
Hello, microphone. Hello, camera. Gentlemen. It's an honor
Oh,
to
and
be here.
do you like tea too?
I love tea. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm just learning to. It's new. I know a lot of people probably would say that, but tea is not my favorite thing about Bali. But I'm learning to love it. I'm starting to soften.
I feel like you have to now if you want to make friends in Ubud.
Yeah, you got to do it. I didn't know it was such a thing. Anyway, my name's Leyv.
Leyv.
Yeah, my friends call me Leyv. My family calls me Leyv. You can call me Leyvi if you could say it. Some people just have a hard time pronouncing it for some reason. But whenever they're like Leyv, I'm like, you could say Dave, Cave, Save, Rave, Leyv. It's the same thing. But that's me. I have been in Ubud for 2 months now, and I'm actually leaving tomorrow. And my favorite thing about Ubud is probably exactly what you were just talking about, the community here, this bubble, I landed here, and usually when I travel places, I feel like it takes a little bit before you get like trusted enough to land into the space to like be a part of the scene, and I think music definitely makes that easier. A lot of people are like, well, you're a musician, of course, it makes it easier, and I imagine I'm like I brought this with me. I'm not even planning to like play music, but I feel safer with it, I'm like, it's like
my little blankie.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's like I had a teddy bear when I was a kid.
It's like, oh, it's in front of me, I'm safe. We're cool now. I can talk, but without it, I feel naked, So I imagine what it would be like without music. I'm like, I could talk, and I could dance and whatever, but this is like my favorite form of communication, and this is what allowed me to land so quickly into this community and to feel so like safe and welcome. meet these other incredible artists, and that's what really made me want to stay here. At first I landed and Haley. Yeah.
That's Haley.
Yeah, we've seen
Yeah, at first I landed here and I was like, I don't know if this is it, man. I don't know if I want to be here. And then I met these incredible musicians like 2 days into being here, and they had me come here like 2 days after landing to come play a concert with all these musicians I never even met. And it was just this incredible connection that just like took place actually right here. This is right where I was sitting. Yeah.
But it's easy, it's true that it's easy to connect with people here. Pretty
easy,
Pretty easily.
yeah.
I have that kind of joke, but it's not even a joke. It's real, which is I'm from Paris, and if I
Paris?
sit, if I'm in Paris, yeah, Paris, Paris, and if I'm in Paris at the cafe,
Yeah.
well, if I sit and I turn to the person next to me, and I smile at them, they'll think like, "Whoa, what a freak!" And they're like, "Well, in Ubud, if I go to Cyrus or to Zest or to Alchemies, and I sit and I turn to the person next to me and I smile, they smile back, and we might even start a conversation."
Yeah.
Or slurp their tea really loud.
Yeah. I feel like the like I've gone farther and farther from that like unwelcoming energy. Like I was raised in New York, and in New York you walk down the street, you smile at someone, and they're like, "What the f- are you looking at?"
Weirdo.
And then I moved to California, and everyone was all smiley and like, "Oh, hey!" And I was like, "This is so weird. Like, what do you guys want from me?" And then I come to Bali, and it's just like even more like welcoming, because there's still this weird like superficial kind of energy in California, and there's also so much beauty and so much incredible community, but here it just feels like a whole community of travelers. Like no one's from Bali,
Yeah. So Leyv, look, let me get this straight.
Yes.
You came to Bali, you didn't know this crew of musicians.
No.
You didn't know them. You dropped into this to this community that fast, and all of a sudden you're part of our community. Like literally you went from 0 to 100 really fast.
Yeah.
That cause that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a gift. Just
Like
total gift.
Probably a shift of your life. I don't know you well enough, but like to be part of this world is something that I know shifted my life.
Absolutely,
So maybe you could speak to that a little bit, like just in terms of like individual relationships,
Of
stuff
how,
like
how,
that.
How I landed.
Yeah, and like how you created the connection and how you dived in and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so I was in my community in California, and this man Rayi came, and everybody knows him here.
Yeah, totally.
He had one of these instruments actually. These I build these, and he heard that it's called an ngoni. It's a West African harp, and Kamali ngoni. And he was friends with my community who have spent a bunch of time here, and they told him like, "Oh, you gotta connect with Leyv. Like he builds these ngonis, and Rayo's ngoni was broken, so he came over and was just like, "Yo, I heard you fix ngonis. Like you can fix my ngoni?" And I was like, probably." And and then I was leaving for Bali in 2 days, and they were like, "Yo, you should connect. Like he's going to Bali. You just came from Bali. He's been here for like 15 years, I guess, and is just very integrated in this community." And he was like, "Oh, you're going to Bali? Like I gotta put you in touch with everyone." I'm like, "The king over there." I was like, "Sweet." So he puts me in a group chat with all these owners of these places and facilitators and other musicians, and he's like, "Yo, this is Leyv," and we had this epic jam session and connected, so got to just like actually feel each other. And he was like, "Leyv does this and that, and he would be so good here and there." And Pierre, who is the runs this place, saw the message and was like, "Whoa, anyone who Rayo says is this good, like 100%." So like I already had a gig booked here before I even landed, so it just felt so welcome before even getting here, and then I came and connected with Abria, who was doing a hand paint journey here.
I love Abria.
Yeah,
Good
and
guy.
he was just like, "Yeah, just come play, bro. Just come, like trust." And just got to land right into that and feel so at home. And from there, they were like, "You're in the band now." Yeah.
Have you ever met this guy?
Yeah, I love this
Oh,
guy.
Rayi's
He's
in
one of
the
my
house.
favorites.
Right. Would you be open to coming on? Awesome.
Join
awesome.
us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Really cool, man.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna say is this: like one thing that we've learned from our first episode is you can't have more than 3 people on at a time.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's too messy.
It gets too messy.
I'm not a person, you can't see me.
That's true. So what I'm gonna say is I'd love to have you on. I know you leave tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Wow, he leaves tomorrow, so it's like an honor to have you on the show.
Such an honor to be
and
here.
imprint your energy on what we're doing. It's really special.
My pleasure.
But what I'm gonna ask for you to do is just play something for a few minutes, kind of like outro yourself,
Yeah. Let's see what
and maybe if you can like pay it forward and maybe invite some cool people that have affected you to come and be on our show while we talk to Rayi.
for sure.
Thank
yeah.
you. that sexy Jewish bluesy voice.
Everyone's always just like, no, say yeah. I'm like, no, it's the blues. You gotta say no. No, 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 no.
No, 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 no.
It's like, no, don't treat me like this woman. Like they're always saying like, nah, don't do this to me.
Unless her name is Ubud, then you can do
Unless
whatever
your
you
name
want
is
with
Ubud,
me.
just have your way with me, Ubud. That's the Ngoni. That's Leyv. Such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
So glad to get to drink some tea with you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, let me drink my tea too.
Yeah, take a slurp and then
It's not complete until you have tea.
yeah, and then you take a slurp and then Rayi, what's gonna happen is you're gonna come because we have the perfect seat set up here.
Actually, that's perfect. Now we're just after an amazing musician. We have a
Thank you.
very
Thank you, bro.
I appreciate
beautiful,
We're on
devoted
air, bro. We're on
it.
air.
Yeah.
tea server. Right? Because actually we were talking about how Ubud is a lot about art, is a lot about expression,
Good job.
and one thing
The ultimate tea master.
that's been coming to Ubud a lot recently is tea. Right.
Can we get contributions on air sent here right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the cap goes off for $100.
The cap goes off for $100.
Yeah, to see my face.
Oh. I mean, I wish we had a live audience.
Yeah, live audience,
if we had
and
a
then
live,
we
we
could-
can like live stream this on Instagram right now.
And then I'll be incognito until there's like a price until like my head items go off.
I agree.
That'll
with
be a
it.
style.
I dig it because like we'd actually like to have you on a full episode at some point because
Yeah.
there is not a man that I know who embodies the tea experience more fully, more grounded, more inspirationally than this man right here. So I am going to actually like create. We're gonna have to figure this out. We're a two mic wonder right now.
Yeah.
But what I'm gonna say is, for our audience, for people that are watching, like it would be worth it for you to get him to take his hat off. At $100, that's not a big deal.
From each person.
Yeah, it's 1.4 million rupiah.
So I have one question. Are we being heard now with the sound?
Yeah, well, listen.
Yeah, you can even hear yourself in the in
Right,
this.
1 2 1 2. Okay, that's pretty
So
good.
actually, as we're serving
Nice,
tea.
Carlos.
Oh yeah, Carlos in the house. Rayi, why do you think tea has taken over Ubud like this?
Well,
And
people
why
need a
has it
reason.
taken you over to start with?
Well, tea took over me quite a while ago already, for maybe like 12 years ago. And then Ubud just needs a reason to do things, and tea is the perfect vessel for us to actually do things, get together, or any other activity that's going to be happening will be nicely curated by tea. So I think that's why. Just find a reason. We needed a reason for all the magicians to show themselves and get together, and tea is a reason to do so. For you to show who you are and for you to show what you can do. So it's just a connector, and it's time for us to connect. So that's why I came.
I feel like he's freestyling. So beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a rap.
Yeah. I got to get the mic in here while you're pouring tea. You know, I got to take charge of the show while you pour the tea. I want to say that 12 years of drinking tea, that's almost as long as I've been teaching yoga. It's part of your life. It's part of your identity. I'm inspired by it. And the way that you say that it takes over, I can see that it means something more to you than like a business or a hobby. It's a way of life. That's at least the way it feels to me. How has it affected the way that you communicate with people outside of tea ceremonies?
I don't communicate with people outside of tea ceremonies.
That's how it's affected you.
I only walk to places where there's tea, and that's where we talk and meet.
I actually want to speak to you about that because you have kind of like, you've showed up in my life, and the way that you've showed up in my life is somebody who I really appreciate. It took me a moment, you know, it took me a moment to ground into it and see you truly. But one of the things that helps me see you is your style.
Okay.
You know, I love the way you dress, and part of the way that you dress, and maybe Ubud or Bali makes it possible because of just the culture here. But you dress like you're always at a tea ceremony, except for last week in that black red shirt. That was really
it was a
awesome.
gift. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Someone broke my style.
But you're always in a tea ceremony vibe.
Yeah, bro. Well, the thing is that we don't divide. You see, if you ask me how to pour tea, I'll say perfect your life and just pour naturally. So it's the same. Tea ceremony is just a little metaphor of yourself. So the qualities that you have there, the style that you have there is not different than your life. And then when that bridge becomes one land, I guess that's what perfection is, in a way, where there is no separate ceremony or separate path or way. It's just one flow. But you first need to choose an art to cultivate it in a micro form for it then to link and bridge into your life, and then it just becomes one. And then you pour tea same as you dance, as you talk, as you do work. It's the same thing. And tea is considered a gongfu, which means a mastery, a skill you can master, because it believes that it has all the components to actually know yourself and know life itself. So by learning this art, you can learn anything about the world, because all the little signs are here if you can see it, if you can give an approach in this way. So it's up to you.
Well, I do have to say, knowing you have I feel like you definitely like kind of even if you don't have tea, tea ceremony all the time with how you dress, as you said, and how you keep things clean, and a certain mindfulness to everything. And it's like sometimes some people say, well, meditation, for example, is the same. Now is your training ground to be in your meditative state, and in meditation all the time, even when you record a podcast, even when you do your work. And I feel tea ceremony is definitely something similar.
Totally. It's what you choose. I mean, we all choose mirrors from what to reflect our life. We all choose something that mirrors and creates us. So someone chooses tea, someone chooses yoga, someone chooses work, but the difference is, can you believe that this is you fully, that will create you back? So
one of the things another thing that is associated with you is the contact improv dance.
Yeah.
You've created that vibe. And I have to say, I don't know how I haven't made it to one yet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how, because I love to dance, and I love you, and I love tea.
There's a mystical protection.
Yeah, there's something going on that's protecting it, for sure. Because, like, I always want to go, and I always end up not going. But this is another part of how you do you.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe you could speak to that, and also for the people at home that are watching or listening, maybe you can speak to it. And like contact improv is not, it's kind of like tea.
Yeah.
If you don't live in Ubud, you might not know about this.
Yeah. Well, I have one secret why it's a successful thing. Because we have tea before class. We sit in a circle and we have tea. But no, actually, what happened is my body needed activity. And I basically rented a dojo, a beautiful space with a great floor, to move and have tea and do music. And then a friend came in, and that became a thing. So it's been half a year now. We're moving. And what happened is actually I give a space for people to show, express themselves. And in Ubud is a hot spot. Mm-hmm. Everyone's a mover, everyone's a dancer. And if you create the right atmosphere, it just flows, it just creates. So I'm just facilitating something that's needed for people in a bit of a twist of structure, Asian balls, and tea in between. So that's it, basically. It's a platform for people to express.
And before you came, we were talking actually about ecstatic dance, and especially contact, and I feel it's quite similar to, I was saying it's quite similar to tea in two ways in my mind. One is just to bypass the mind. It's quite a meditative thing through movement for dance, and also with the connection with others. What I love with tea ceremonies is there's a lot of subtle feeling for the energies. So when I have tea with you compared to when I have a meal, I often feel more, it's his turn to speak, I feel you more. And same when I do contact dance, rather than going, hey, you want to dance with me? I like feel where you're at and how's our connection and what the energy wants to do.
Totally, I hear that. Well, essentially, it's all healing practices. Be it tea, be it movement, be it meditation. We are all looking to heal ourselves and bring us back into center. And we find the outer things that can bring us to it. Be it movement, be it tea. You say that. So, just putting the pieces together, finding the right tools to make it happen.
I'm actually realizing right now, like this, like you were saying, like there's so many different ways and different practices and meditative ways in life, and like how you are in life is how you are in tea, and so on and so forth. And being in this podcast space, this is like our first official show.
Yeah.
And being in this podcast space is really interesting because we're having a nice conversation right now. Like I'm learning about you and I'm really appreciating what you say. And at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, wait a second, how do I make this more interesting? How do I make this more dynamic? And settling back into this conversation is enough. That's what I learned from you, watching you. Like one of the things that you said to me in terms of the setup of a tea table is you set the tea table up and then you'll take something off and be like, is that necessary? And then you'll take the next thing off and you'll be like, is that necessary?
Well, it depends what you want. Maybe you want some spice.
Right before you answer, Lawrence, should I get Brian? He's here as the organizer of the festival. I can tell him to come.
I would
in a minute.
actually get Carlos. He's waiting in the door and we asked him to come next. But I'm
Okay.
But
I'll be back in a
yeah,
minute.
cool. I'll hang out with just the two of us.
Oh my god. So I mean, it depends what you want. If you want some spice, you can try being provocative. You could probably push me, give me some spicy questions, talk about my sex life and whatever is on the opposite side of healing and nice. So whenever you want to bring that energy up, just do that.
I want to have you on the show. Like I actually want to have you on the show.
All right, bro.
As like main guest.
Let's have this as a teaser.
Yeah. Say something about your sex life. Like you're definitely one of the most sought after tea masters on the planet. Women love you. You pour tea with so much respect and so much grace. Share with us. Like I've seen you walking around with some tea loving women around, before.
Well, this you will find out in the full episode.
Oh, and he might even take his hat off.
I might take my hat off.
There he goes. So I'm going to be left on my own as he takes the last sip of tea.
It's good tea.
It is good tea.
I like it oversteeped.
Is it oversteeped?
It's oversteeped, and that's how I like it.
That's how you like it. I'm gonna tell that to Alex. He'll appreciate it.
And that's also something that how I like women.
Oversteeped, but oversteeped in what, my dear?
Oof. Well, I kind of like the bitterness, the strength in the bitterness. So if it's kind of too soft, it doesn't work.
Спасибо, огромное спасибо.
And I'll see you soon.
Yeah. What happened with Carlos?
Well, Brian's the organizer of that festival, right?
Yeah.
And Carlos gonna come after Brian.
Okay, cool.
But it's a lot to organize a festival, I guess. I mean, we can ask Brian.
It's a big fucking deal.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
boys and girls, children of all ages. We'd like
Brian!
to bring in. Sure. This is the man who created Vesper Collective. This is the man who came from Los Angeles, California. Please sit down, Brian, right here.
So Brian's organizing that festival today, and that's why
Yeah, watch out for
we wanted to have you now, because I guess it's a lot, and so we're very grateful that you come for 5-10 minutes here,
your mic.
and we're
Thank you
very
so
grateful
much.
that you're organizing this.
Thank you so much for having me
Yeah.
and for organizing this. Wow.
Like, why did you? What was the name of what was today, and why did you want to organize that? What's the soul of the event today?
So the name of this festival is called Dirt and Soul. It's a collaboration with Vesper, the Dragon Tea Temple, and Zest Restaurant. The inspiration for this, my favorite festival I ever attended, was Beloved Festival in Oregon. It's magical rainforest, and one of my favorite places to hang out in this festival was this 19th century wagon that served tea till like 4 a.m. with amazing DJ music, conscious high vibe people, and I felt that instead of alcohol or other sacraments, that we could come together and enjoy beautiful music with tea as the start. And so, Dirt and Soul.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure and it's an honor for us to be part of this. This is something that we thought we can like provide this red carpet feel for the artists, so you guys can come in and, you know, share your thoughts and so on and so forth. I wanted to share a little bit about like my perception of you, because just recently, well, wait. It's not going to be anything bad, you know? Chill out. We're drinking tea. Everything's safe here. But like until recently, you were just the guy that I kept seeing playing violin with a lot of my friends doing what they do, and they're brilliant. So you're brilliant just by association. But like now what's happening is you are like unveiling yourself as like a leader, a player. This is something really cool, and even like connecting with you the last few days has been really nice. I always thought your name was Vesper. Well, because I
amazing.
I didn't know what you know. It was just like Vesper Collective. That's the guy that's obviously like pulling the strings with the Vesper Collective. And where did the name Vesper come from? What's the idea? You work with some of my favorite musicians on the planet, like Pau. I've seen other people too on stage with you. Pau is coming to mind specifically. So what's the idea and the behind the name?
So Vesper is Roman Latin for Venus, and in Orthodox Christianity in Russia, in Eastern Europe, it means evening prayers.
Вечер.
Vesper, yeah. And my favorite opera, it's by Niccolo Monteverdi. It's called Vespers of the Blessed Virgin. And so that's the inspiration for the group. And the idea is that we come together in devotion. Vesper is not a band, it's a community. And we come together in ceremony, usually in the evenings, and come together in prayer. And so the sentiment behind coming together in music is in this spirit of devotion and community. And that when we connect musically, we're connecting on a very intimate level, and that's what we try to express in our containers.
Awesome, well said. I have a question for you, and that is, we can't have you for long because you have to go back and keep pulling the strings and so on and so forth. You're like, how do you feel being here drinking tea with us?
Amazing.
You look pretty chill.
This feels really great.
What we've been trying to do, and Rayi, who was just on, he was the first to do it, is we want to share something spicy, like a teaser for the day you're going to come on the show and be like the only guest. We're going to do like a full episode. I'm inviting you right now to be the guest for the full episode, but I also want to just sprinkle a little bit of sexiness so that people so like if there's anything that's controversial, if there's anything you do that you think that people are going to be like that, the thing that makes you go that kind of thing. I'm putting you on the spot, Brian.
I know, yeah.
Sex, drugs, or rock and roll?
So a lot of the containers we create is creating this safety and intimacy to be in our full authentic expression. And that can involve also whatever wants to be expressed. And so sensuality can be part of that, is creating this beautiful musical container that allows it to be expressed. So we're coming in spirit of devotion in this sacred way. And traditionally for thousands of years with institutionalized religion, that this aspect of sensuality is repressed. So bringing this sacred container to allow it to flourish.
I'm gonna ask you one more question because I didn't get a response. That was the official response.
That's true though.
Here's another question for you, and then we're gonna let you go, free you. Unless you want to hang out, you can hang out. We got more tea. Like, I'm happy to hang out with you. I like you. Okay, but here's my next question. My next question is: name one thing that you've never done in your life until you got to Ubud.
I mean, I'm trying to think of something spicy. I never attended an official tea ceremony, like a tea meditation, until I came to Ubud. And so the tea culture here is very special.
And now you do it every day.
And now I'm here every day. And so Ubud on tea and bringing it around the globe, this vibe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for spending time with us. Do you have anything you want to say? Anything like you want to promote?
You can follow us on Instagram, vesper.collective. You can keep track of our events in Bali and collaborations, and really appreciate the two of you for the work you're doing and this vibration, and really want this to spread.
Awesome. Thank you.
Likewise, bro. Have a last cup of tea.
Yeah.
I'll need a 5-minute break, Lawrence.
Okay, why don't we finish this? Why don't we close this episode? It's already been over an hour. Yeah. Why don't we close this episode and then we'll do a next episode? And so it's gonna be like a 2-part episode.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's all drink tea together.
Yeah. Congrats, guys. Brian, you're part of the first episode.
Cheers.
Slurp it up, slurp it up. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to catch us on Instagram, Ubud on Tea. Please share what we do with the world. And we're on YouTube also, Ubud on Tea. Like, subscribe, press the notification key, and let the world know. And don't forget, let people know on your Instagram stories. I mean, like, what else are you going to be doing?
Yeah, there's something I like to do when I listen to a podcast. I take a screenshot, I put it in my stories, I tag a few people that I think will really like it.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brian. I want to thank Leyv. I want to thank Rayi for being our first guest on our first episode. Thank you, Zest Dragon Temple Tea House. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you,
first
Ubud.
episode. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Okay, that's just the Puer talking. See you guys later. Peace.